So I've tried to make this video quite a few times and just got stuck somewhere in there. This video is going to be the demonic energy that I see working through men. And it seems to be because the veil is being pulled from over us, and we're realizing that there is a lot of things that are not true. We're realizing the suppression and the oppression of women and how it relates to so many historical, biblical, and other things. Right now, in the Black community specifically, but not just limited to the Black community, remember there's always going to be a trickle-down impact. Femicide is extremely high in the Black community right now, and every 5 hours, I'll use the 5 hour stats, I won't do the 4.8 or anything, just about every 5 hours, a Black man is taking the life of a Black woman. This is not just people that were married. This is not just people that were in relationships. These are also women that don't know these men, who are being attacked on the street, who are being attacked for rejecting them. There's a deep demonic spirit working through men at large. So we're not just talking about Black men, and we're not going to just zoom in on Black men today. Men in general. This veil that is coming from over women, because the time is up. That suppression and oppression is over. So the air is being cleared. But there is a war that men are raging on women. Raging and waging. There's a real war. And I often hear, because women are saying things, or women have clapbacks on TikTok and this, that, and the third. And I keep hearing gender war, gender war, gender war where? Gender war where? Please show me the stats for which women are killing men. There are several stats for the consistency at which men are harming women. And I'm not blaming the individual man, but collectively, the climate that we have come from, the programming that we have been under as women and men, there is a deep, dark spirit that is coming and working through men. Now, the tone that has been set through the programming is for men to neglect their emotional nature. I made a video the other day saying that men are more emotional than women. And while I'm not trying to insinuate that if they were in their healthy state, they would be more emotional than women, I'm talking about the cycle we're coming out of years upon years, generations upon generations of trauma, and men being told they're not emotional beings, their emotional welfare does not need to be put to the forefront, being told that they can go out and be as promiscuous as they want, being told they can go out and spread their seed wide, far and wide, because they're a man and that's what they're supposed to do. Them not seeing how their abuse of themselves makes them abuse one another, makes them abuse women and children. This thing is serious. This is historical. This is present day. This is not new. We are not talking about the individual woman. We are not just going to talk about the Black community. We are going to say this, and go and research it for yourself. One thing that all men of the world have in common is the abuse, sexual, physical, emotional, mental, of women and children. You know, one thing Kevin Samuels really did, he opened this thing up. He did, because when you see anybody robotically repeating any of his phrases, not saying that those phrases originally come from him, but there was a very, very, very nasty work that man was positioned to play. And you see a bunch of his minions, whether man or woman, when you see those people, instead of arguing with them, instead of trying to prove a point to them, You need to identify those people for who they are. Now, this does not mean that there are not naive people who will work through that rhetoric, that will work through the manosphere and realize, whoa, this is not going where I thought it was. Of course, some people will wake up and they will come out of it. But majority of these men and women that you see, those are the ones we need to pay attention to. Not just them, but those are some of the ones you need to pay attention to. You have a lot of them that push the rhetoric, that speak on it, that use the little phrases. And then you also have some of them who will position themselves as if they don't like him. But when you get into it and you hear what they're talking about, they don't like him, men specifically, because of the aspects where he told men that they need to have all the financial things sorted out because they need to be the ones who take care of those affairs. That's why you'll see some of them don't like him, but they agree with all of the other abusive, predatory rhetoric. This thing has been opened up. He opened this thing up. And that's why he did not get exposed, but he was moved off of the scene completely. Because exposure would have elevated Kevin Samuels. Because what a lot of people don't know is a lot of people in society have been programmed to be predatory, including women. If nothing else, women are some of the largest and biggest enablers. Now, while I try to understand where we're coming from, the restrictions a lot of women have, I must highlight and point out how many children, this happens with fathers too. There are children that have told their fathers they've been sexually abused and the fathers have blamed them. Absolutely. But I see some of these women, right, still married to the abusers of their child, telling a 5-year-old, telling a 4-year-old, telling an 11-year-old that they're lying about things that how would they know? How would a 5-year-old research this on YouTube? Type in, my mother didn't believe me about my sexual assault. Or just type in, I was sexually assaulted by a family member. And in that story, in most of those stories, you will hear the mother getting angry with them. Now, I know this has a lot to do with a lot of the women that we know have been abused. The older women, they couldn't do anything. They had to suck it up. They married their abusers. They were forced to marry their abusers. They were forced to marry their rapists. And so trauma a lot of times can make you want to shut things out, right? Especially if you suffer from arrested development or you're emotionally stunted. So while I understand the climate we're coming from where women were forced to embark upon those things and accept it, and should they open their mouth, they could be beaten further, they could be disowned. I get it. But this is still happening today because of cognitive dissonance, because of male idolatry. Between the cognitive dissonance and the male idolatry, the programming, the inability to have time to be still, to even really see. Most people don't even have time to be still to see what is going on. They'll tell you you're over-exaggerating things, right? Because people like to wait until the damage is done to do anything. But you see me? No. I'm not going to play defense. I'm going to play offense when I see the traits. Okay? When I see the red flags this time, baby, I'm not going to play with it. And I'm not going to play with it. I don't care who you are. Man, woman, boy, or girl. And when I say boy or girl, these children that are raping, these 10-year-old, look in the news, research it. You have these little boys. There was a little boy, I think he was maybe a teenager, and he went and raped a grown woman in her home. Baby, there is a nasty, wicked spirit roaming, and something about men right now is they are such a large vessel. When I talk about narcissism, I talk about the women and the men. But make no mistake about it. Research says 75% of narcissists are men. But remember this, that most narcissists will never be diagnosed. They'll never go and get a diagnosis because that is a part of their disorder. Everything's wrong with everybody else. Nothing's wrong with them. And while that would increase the amount of women as well, it would drastically increase the amount of men. Because this is what they've been programming men to do. So even the most innocent of souls, as he's performing for the love and attention of his peers, he can lose his soul. Because that's what they do to good men. That's what they try to do to quality men. Look at the soul of the young boy transition through teenage. It happens to women too. It's just men will lash out differently. And they're more prone to be sexually violent, physically violent, and violent in general. Women, we internalize. We beat ourselves down. We beat the ones that look like us down. That doesn't mean women aren't out here. You see these high school teachers touching these children, getting out of jail within 6 months. Why are we doing that? As a matter of fact, let's segue into this. Why aren't sexual offenders, most especially those who have raped, coerced, or did anything to a minor, why are they not in jail for life? Especially when there's no rehabilitation for that specific thing. Why are they not in jail for life? Or at least 25 years and up? That tells me that in this society, predators are welcome. Go look on your sex offender list. Go look at their violent offenses. First degree rape. Sexual battery. Why are these people in anybody's neighborhood when they could have a whole facility created just for them? When they are on, when they're showing good behavior, whatever, which any manipulator would, anybody that wants to go back out and be able to have access to the supply would. Why aren't they in facilities like psych wards? They can create a whole community that includes just them. Why aren't they in those type of communities? There's a reason. There is a reason. And on this page, I'm not going to play with it. If it's something you don't want to talk about, then fine. Leave the page. But don't come here pandering for either women or men when I'm discussing them. Because I don't need to hate anybody. These children are at risk. These children that are being brought into this world are at risk. This is the main reason why when it came to Roe versus Wade, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. If God give people free will, who is the government to say anything else? That's not a victory. That's not a Christian victory. And let me make this clear. I am building my relationship with God. I am not religious. I am not a goddess, no spiritual guru, nothing. I am simply building my relationship with God and allowing God to use me as a vessel. So the messages that I come and share with you all, that's not for popularity. That's not to go viral. And I couldn't care less if it goes viral. But whoever gets to hear it, I pray and I hope that you will learn something or it will confirm something for you. And that we can continue to be those who will speak regardless. Because right now, I want to say society is the fakest it's ever been, but there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. Women, be careful. I'll make a separate video because I've pretty much turned this into a rant, but women, be careful. Be careful. I'm seeing women being attacked out at their park festivities. I'm seeing women being berated. I'm seeing, and especially those of you who are actively dating, because for the life of me, I don't understand why people are sincerely out here on these dating apps looking for love. I don't care if 2 or 3 people found their husband. It does not matter. These are different times, and you need to see what is going on. The spiritual climate has shifted. It has shifted. And we need to be vigilant of that. I'm not going to go on any further. You know, I hope that that I'm sharing with you, like I said, you've either learned something or able to confirm something, or you can teach me something. You can help my eyes open up more. Because this is serious. This is serious. And most importantly, when it comes to these children. Because at the end of the day, women a lot of times, they, like I said, some of the biggest enablers of this stuff, some of them are perpetrators of this stuff. And I can't always waste time going back to everybody's childhood. I get it. Childhood trauma changes people. But look, some of us made the decision to hurt people can heal people, or hurt people can hurt people. That's a decision you have to make within yourself.